COVID-19 cases are surging once again in the United States, reaching a significant peak in hospitalizations since December 2022. Jean Domingo has the details.
COVID-19 cases are experiencing a surge once again in the United States. The week of July 15 saw more than 7,100 COVID-19 patients hospitalized, a notable increase from the previous week's count of 6,444, as reported by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC issued a warning about a 10% spike in hospitalizations, marking the sharpest increase since December of last year. Moreover, as of July 21, an average of 0.73% of emergency room visits were due to COVID-19, which is up from 0.49% on June 21. Dr. Brendan Jackson, the CDC's COVID incident manager in Atlanta, told American media, and I quote, "After roughly 6-7 months of steady declines, things are starting to tick back again. We've seen the early indicators go up for the past several weeks, and just this week, for the first time in a long time, we've seen hospitalizations tick up as well. This could be the start of a late summer wave," end of quote. Although hospitalization cases have increased, they are still lower than the levels reported the same time last year. In July 2022, there were up to 44,000 weekly hospitalizations and 5% of COVID-19 related emergency room visits recorded. According to reports, unlike previous waves, the recent short spurt in cases is not attributed to the emergence of a single super transmissible variant. The U.S. CDC's current projections indicate that a combination of descendants from the XBB variant, which initially drove infections last winter, is now competing throughout the country. U.S. CDC spokesperson Kathleen Conley said that their agency's current genomic surveillance shows that the rise in infections is attributed to strains closely linked to the Omicron variants that have been circulating since early 2022. The increase in cases reached its relative peak 1 month after federal modelers predicted that the main period of COVID-19 activity is anticipated to take place in late fall and early winter over the next 2 years, with the median peak incidence between November and mid-January. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Jean Domingo, SMNI News.
The United States will help Australia produce guided missiles and rockets by 2025 as the two allies take a major step in expanding their military alliance. Gillian Lebuit reports.
US will seek to boost its shrinking weapons stockpiles by helping Australia develop a missile manufacturing and exporting industry. Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles announced the project after meetings with US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defence Secretary Lloyd Austin III in the city of Brisbane. Marles expressed hope that missile manufacturing could begin in Australia in the next 2 years. Meanwhile, US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said the plan, which would mutually benefit both countries, would help the United States to sharpen its technological edge and strengthen its defense industrial base, as he affirmed stronger US military presence in Australia.
We continue to increase the rotational presence of US forces in Australia. This includes maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft, which will enhance our maritime domain awareness in the region. We're also introducing new rotations of U.S. Army watercraft and expeditionary submarine visits to Australia. These efforts will bolster deterrence by strengthening our interoperability and enhancing our sustainment and logistics capabilities for critical missions.
Marles expressed hope the two-day meetings known as the Australia-United States Ministerial Consultation held in Brisbane heavily focused on regional security and military cooperation. After the talks, Marles and Austin travelled to North Queensland to observe the ongoing exercise Talisman Sabre, participated by 30,000 troops from 13 countries. The massive joint military exercise, however, were put on hold on Saturday after an Australian military helicopter participating in the war games crashed into the ocean, killing 4 soldiers.
Reporting from New South Wales, this has been Gillian Lebuit, SMNI News, Australia.